This is Little Hands Creations instructional video on different parts of your sewing machine. These are the machines that we typically use in our classes. They are the Singer heavy duty models. The first thing that we're going to do is turn it to the side. You're going to see this plug-in right here, and that is where you connect your pedal. So you should have a pedal with a connection that looks like that. We're going to plug it in. On the other side of your pedal, you will have an outlet plug. So you're just going to find an outlet, plug that in. The next thing is the on-off switch. This little dial right here, on and off. The way that you can tell that your sewing machine is on is that the light will be on, off, off. Pretty simple. There are two ways to make your sewing machine go. One of them is by the pedal on the ground, which we'll talk about in a little bit. And the next one is by this hand crank on the side. When you are using the hand crank, you can manually make your needle go up and down. We use this for turning corners, for making sure that our bunny is up when we begin sewing and when we finish sewing, or to make sure that our needle gets in a really precise spot. We don't ever do the majority of our sewing with our hand crank. This is more fine tuning. You also always want to make sure that when you're using the hand crank, you are pulling it towards you instead of pushing it away from you. Pushing it away from you means that the machine is going backwards and you're going to end up with a thread monster. So whenever you use this hand crank, you're going to pull it towards you. Now we're going to talk about the pedal on the ground. I'm not going to show it in the video because that would be difficult with my camera setup. But the main thing to take away is that you control the speed of your sewing machine with how hard you press on the pedal. If you press really lightly, you can go really slowly. If you press really hard, you're going to go way too fast and break the speed limit. It takes a good amount of practice to learn how to get a nice medium speed, so please don't expect that your first time in a sewing machine, you are going to nail that medium speed. It takes a lot of practice. So, as I'm pressing on the pedal, I want you to put your eyes right here on this little guy. This is technically called the pickup lever, but we call it the bunny because from the side, it's got a little eye, it's got a little ear. I'm going to try and get it to focus. I'm one of those YouTube people now. And whenever you sew, it hops up and down. Probably one of the most important things that you will hear repeated in our class over and over and over is your bunny up? Every problem that you could have with your sewing machine, if the thread is becoming unthreaded through your needle, if you are getting a thread monster, if your hand crank won't turn, is your bunny up and is your bunny threaded? Very, very important. The next thing, let's see if I can zoom a little bit. I'm not sure if you'll be able to see this, but we'll try, is the feeder dogs and the presser foot. So from back behind the sewing machine, I'm going to flip it around so that you can see a little bit easier. There is this lever. This is what raises and lowers our presser foot. And the presser foot holds our project down to the plate of the sewing machine with a little bit of tension so that it can move the project through our sewing machine. So the feed dogs and the presser foot work together. Let's see if you can see these. I'm going to zoom one more time. Nope, I'm not. Now I'm going to zoom in. We'll see if it works. As I'm stitching, can you see these little pieces moving? Those are called the feeder dogs. And what they do is they work with the presser foot to hold your project and move it through the sewing machine. So the presser foot holds the project to the feeder dogs, and then the feeder dogs move your project through the sewing machine. So your job as a sewer is just to steer it side to side, control the speed with your foot, and then let the feeder dogs and the presser foot do their magic to take your project away from you. And I think that concludes the main parts of the sewing machine.